Hi there, my excellent biology student. This is Philip Kauma, the excellent biology tutor. In this tutorial video, we're looking at mitosis. Without wasting much of your precious time, let us begin. The objectives for this tutorial video are only two, okay? So we're going to look at the definition of mitosis, and finally we're going to look at the phases of mitosis. These are the objectives for this tutorial video. Let's begin our story of mitosis with the definition. So as we all know, mitosis is a type of cell division that results in the formation of two daughter cells that are diploid and genetically identical from one diploid parent cell. So in this type of cell division, we are seeing the formation of two new cells known as daughter cells. And these two new cells, they are genetically identical with the parent cell. Remember, the parent cell that is dividing in this case is a body cell or a somatic cell, and it contains the full number of chromosomes known as diploid number, denoted by 2n. So even the new cells that are going to be formed will also contain the same full number of chromosomes, which is known as diploid number, and that is represented by 2n. So here is the diagram. We are seeing that one cell, okay, it is dividing into two new cells known as daughter cells. And these two new cells, they are genetically identical with the parent cell. Like I said in the previous video in the introduction for cell division, I mentioned that a cell is not giving birth. Instead, it is dividing. It was one, now there will be two. And then each of the two will also divide. Therefore, the number will increase to 4. From 4 to 8, 8 to 16, 16 to 32, just like that. Cells are dividing. And I remember we also discussed the importance of mitosis. I hope you still remember. One of them is growth. We grow by the process of mitosis. When you cut your hair, it grows back by the process of mitosis. Okay, so otherwise, that is mitosis. It is simply a type of cell division where a cell known as a parent cell divides into two new daughter cells. Okay, and these new daughter cells, they are genetically identical with the parent cell. Now, this process of cell division of mitosis, it occurs in phases, and that is what I want to talk about in this tutorial video. So phases of mitosis. Mitosis involves 4 stages or phases, namely prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. These are the phases or stages of mitosis. We've got prophase, which is the first stage, metaphase, which is the second stage, anaphase, which is the third stage or phase, and telophase, which is the fourth and final stage of mitosis. Now, before mitosis begins, a cell has to prepare itself before it undergoes the phases of mitosis. It will first prepare itself, and the preparation of a cell occurs in the interphase. Okay, the preparation of a cell occurs in the interphase. When a cell is about to divide, it will have to prepare itself for that process of division. In that stage where a cell prepares itself is known as the interphase. Now, there are interesting things that will happen in the interphase. One of them is the cell increases in size. So in the interphase, we're going to see the size of the cell increasing. What else happens? What else? Cell stores up energy. That's the second thing that will happen, okay? A cell will store up energy because this process of cell division, it requires energy. Therefore, a cell should store up energy before it divides. All right. What's the final thing that happens? Chromosomes replicate, okay? Chromosomes are going to replicate. To replicate simply means to make a copy. So a chromosome will make a copy of itself. So chromosomes are going to replicate. Now, let me show you the diagrams to just ensure that you understand what we are talking about. So here is the cell that is about to divide under the process of mitosis. So this is a cell that we have. I hope you can identify the nucleus. So the inside part is the nucleus, as you can see. And inside this nucleus, we've got the genetic materials known as chromosomes that are looking like strands. Those are chromosomes. So one is in red and the other one is in black. Those are the chromosomes, okay, the genetic information or the genetic materials. So what I said, or what we are saying, is that what will happen is that first of all, the cell will increase in size. So we're going to notice that the cell is going to increase in size. Now, why does it increase in size? It does so for the new cells to have the exact same size of the original cell, okay? Because if it does not increase in size, then when it divides, the new cells that are going to be formed will be smaller. So to prevent that from happening, it will first have to increase in size, okay? It will double its size so that once it divides, the new cells that have been formed will have the exact same size as the parent cell. So that is why it increases in size, and this happens in the interphase. And then the other thing that will happen, like I said, is that a cell will store up what? Energy. It stores up energy because this process of mitosis requires energy. And then chromosomes replicate. So let me just zoom. These are the chromosomes that we're seeing. One is in red and the other one is in black, as you can see. Those are the chromosomes. We have 2 chromosomes at the moment, but remember that for a human being in a somatic cell, there are 46 chromosomes, but I've only drawn 2 because I can't draw all the 46. So what is happening to these 2 is happening to the remaining chromosomes, okay? So yeah, I just thought of mentioning that. So we've got 2 chromosomes at the moment. 2 chromosomes. One is in red and the other one is in black. So what we're saying is that these 2 chromosomes are going to replicate, meaning they'll make a copy, okay? So the black chromosome will make a copy of itself as well as the red chromosome. They will make a copy of themselves, okay? They'll replicate. So this will look something like this, okay? So let me do this. Now, what we have are 2 chromosomes that have replicated. So the red one has made a copy of itself. Now we have 2 red chromosomes that are joining together at that dot. That point where the 2 chromosomes are joining together after making a copy, that dot, it is known as the centromere. Okay, it is known as the centromere. The centromere, that's where the chromosomes meet. So these 2 are also considered to be chromosomes. One, I want you to pay attention here. Let me go back to the previous diagram. So we have 2 chromosomes at this point. So the red one, as it is a chromosome. The black one, as it is also a chromosome. Okay. When they make a copy, they are now 2, isn't it? And they've been joined together, meeting at the centromere. In this case now, the 2, both of them are considered to be chromosomes as a whole. It's a chromosome. It's one chromosome as a whole. After making a copy, we now have 2, and they've joined together, right? The 2 chromosomes, okay, have replicated, meaning they've made a copy, isn't it? And that copy has joined with the original chromosome at the centromere. Now, them being together, they are still considered as one chromosome. Okay, they are still considered as one chromosome. But if you were to identify them individually, let's say you want to name this one and this one separately, you're going to say, oh, this is a sister chromatide and this is the other sister chromatide. But they come together to form a whole chromosome. I hope you're following me there, my students. I hope you are following me. So yeah, the chromosomes will make a copy, and that's what we are seeing here. There's a copy of each, and they will join together at the centromere. Palika dot hapo. Okay, so these are the events that will take place in the interphase. And finally, our diagram will look like that. So 1, the cell increases in size. Okay. 2, cell stores up energy. 3, chromosomes replicate. They will make a copy. Okay. And they will meet at the centromere. Now, prophase. Prophase is the beginning of mitosis. Interphase, see mitosis. Okay? Interphase is mitosis. Interphase is just a phase or a stage where a cell prepares itself to divide. But prophase, that's when mitosis begins. So what happens in prophase? Number 1, movement of centrioles to opposite poles of the cell. So the centrioles are going to move to the opposite poles of the cell. Okay. And then what you need to know, actually, my students, is that the centrioles are at the center of a centrosome. So let me just do this. Imagine this is a centrosome. Okay, centrosome. On the middle, at the center of the centrosome, that's where we're going to find the centrioles. So that's the centrioles. This is the centriole, the one which is on the middle. And then the whole thing is a centrosome. Are you following? So the whole thing, the whole circle is a centrosome. And then at the middle there, we're going to find centrioles. Centrioles. Okay? We're going to find centrioles. So, yeah, yali hapa. They're my centrioles. Let me just point at them. That's the centriole. Okay? That is the centriole. So we've got another one on the other side. Okay? That's the other centriole there. Okay? That's the other centriole there. So what will happen is that movement of centrioles to opposite poles of the cell. The centrioles are going to move on the opposite poles of the cell. That's what happens in the prophase. And then appearance of spindle fibers from the centrioles. They are going to start developing from the centrioles. Okay, they'll start growing, developing from the centrioles. So spindle fibers will appear from the centrioles. And then disappearance of the nuclear membrane and nucleolus. So the nuclear membrane is going to disappear. For those that do not know the nuclear membrane, it is just the boundary of the nucleus. So we had a nucleus, right, like that, isn't it? Now in the prophase, this nuclear membrane disappears, okay, or it dissolves. We no longer have it, okay? So that happens during a prophase. And then we're going to see that chromosomes become visible by coiling and shortening. So now the chromosomes that replicated during interphase, in this case, they'll become short and thick, and they'll be visible now. As you can see, they are now short and they are thick, okay? Yeah, together with the copy that they made, yeah. So chromosomes become visible by coiling and shortening. All right, and then we move on to metaphase. Metaphase. What happens during this phase? So centromeres of chromosomes line up along the equator of the cell. So remember the centromeres? The centromeres is just the point where the sister chromatides meet to form the whole chromosome. Okay, so they will line up at the center. As you can see, the chromosomes are now at the center of the cell. If you want, you can say chromosomes line up at the center or at the equator of the cell. Okay, if you're not okay with saying centromeres of the chromosomes line up at the center, you can also say chromosomes, okay, line up along the equator of the cell, as you can see. And then what else happens? Spindle fibers from the centrioles attach themselves to the centromeres of the chromosomes. So the spindle fibers will continue growing, they will extend until they attach themselves to the chromosomes. Okay, so spindle fibers from the centrioles attach themselves to the centromeres of the chromosomes. That's what happens during metaphase, which is the second stage of mitosis. And then we've got anaphase. During anaphase, what are we seeing? During anaphase, the sister chromatides are separated from each other and put to opposite poles. Centromeres first. So, in other words, we can simply say the sister chromatides separate going to opposite poles of the cell. So remember this sister chromatide here, let me change the color. This sister chromatide was joined to this one. Then this other sister chromatide was joined to that one, right? But now they separate. They are separated. How? By the contraction of the spindle fibers. So the spindle fibers are going to pull one sister chromatide going to the to one end of the cell, and the other sister chromatide going to the other end of the cell. Okay. So during anaphase, there's only one thing that happens, which is sister chromatides are separated from each other and pulled to opposite poles, okay, of the cell. I hope we are clear, my excellent students. Finally, telophase. Now, during telophase, a number of things happen. The first being the chromatides arrive at the pores and each of them become a complete chromosome. So remember the chromosomes that were separated, they are going to arrive at the opposite poles of the cell and they will each become a full chromosome. Okay, so let me just go back to the previous diagram, to the previous drawing. So here we have two, okay, we've got two chromosomes or sister chromatides. We've got this one and that one. Here we also have this one and this one. In the telophase, they will now finally reach the opposite poles of the cell. Okay, that's the first thing that will happen, and they will become full chromosomes. Okay, and then the spindle fibers disappear. Are we seeing any spindle fibers here? No, because their function is done. They've separated the chromosomes, and that's all. That's their function. That's their role in the process of mitosis, separating or pulling the sister chromatides to opposite poles of the cell. Once that is done, they will dissolve or they will disappear. So the spindle fibers disappear. What else? Chromosomes disappear by unwinding. As you can see, they've unwinded, okay? At first, they were short and thick as they were being separated, but now they've unwinded. They're now looking like strands. Okay, because they have unwinded. In this case, they are no longer visible. Okay, you cannot see them with your naked eyes. They have unwinded. And then the nucleolus and the nuclear membrane reappears. We can see that the nuclear membrane has reappeared. We now have the nucleus, and then inside the nucleus we have these genetic materials known as the chromosomes. Okay, that's all. That's what happens during mitosis, though there's a final stage which is known as cytokinesis. And during cytokinesis, these two sister chromatides, they now completely separate. Okay, they now become two individual cells. As you can see here, they are still attached, but during cytokinesis, they now separate completely, and we now have two individual cells. So if you look at these two sister not chromatides, if you look at these two new daughter cells, they are the same, isn't it? Inside we have two chromosomes, okay? Even this side. So here we have two chromosomes inside. Even here we've got two chromosomes, right? So in other words, we've got 46. We've also have 46, because remember I said that I can't draw all the 46. So whatever is happening to these two is also happening to the rest. So what we are seeing here, the new cells, they are exactly the same as the previous cell, the cell that we started with. So let's go back to that cell. Let's go back to that cell. So this is the cell that we started with. Only two chromosomes inside, the red one and the black one. And in the final phase, which is cytokinesis, we are going to have two new cells which are looking exactly like this one. So this is mitosis, my excellent biology students. The next thing that you're going to learn is meiosis. Otherwise, for this video, we are going to end here. Hope you've learned something. Make sure that you watch this video at least 3 times. Okay, watch it at least 3 times. Leave a comment for yourself. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, do so. Like this video, and yeah, stay tuned.